So
Ooh.
Warner Brothers seems to be allergic to money. They were actually pitched a Batman Beyond movie. Yes, they were.
That was called
They were.
Batgirl.
No, they were. No, they were genuinely pitched a Batman Beyond movie by none other than the guys who did the Spider-Verse. So very, very lucrative, very successful. Whether you agree or disagree, whether you like it or not, doesn't really matter. But very successful and lucratively animated projects, and they turned it down. If you can believe it. We've got some concept art here. Yes, this is my Twitter at Mistake Reviews. Give me a follow. But here it is. So 5 months ago, Patrick Harpin walked into Warner Brothers Pictures, DC official, and pitched a Batman Beyond animated feature. Before we pitched, they warned us, there is absolutely no way we can do a Beyond movie. Why? But they loved our enthusiasm. We pitched the outline for the entire film, and what started as a never turned into a maybe. In the time since, we've been pitching our way up the company, hoping to get to James Gunn. But for now, here's a taste of what we've been cooking. Look at this.
Wow.
Look, from writer-director Patrick Harpin, production designer Yuki Demers, who did Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So yes, it'll be animated. I don't necessarily agree.
Sons of bitches away from Batman.
No, what? Look, this looks. You don't like the look of this? I think this looks cool.
I didn't like any of their Spider-Verse crap either. I know I'm one of the outliers on that. But no, I'm good.
All right. There you
wow.
Go.
Wow.
I'm not a big fan of these kind of characters anyway. I know it's not a popular opinion.
What? You don't like Terry McGinnis?
No, I don't need another Batman. I already got one. It's called Batman.
But he was a Batman.
No, mine's Bruce Wayne.
No.
It's like I don't need 20 fucking Robins. Mine's Dick Grayson.
Tom, you clearly didn't watch it. He is.
I don't care. I've never been a big fan of these kind of things. Never. I'm just about as much of a fan of these as I am like shows like Gotham and other shows where they don't have the main superhero in it. Madam Web, right? Like that is not my thing. I want Spider-Man. I want Superman. I want Batman.
I was making a joke.
Anyway,
because in law, I was making a joke because in law, Terry McGinnis is a clone of Bruce Wayne.
Yep. I don't care. I've never been a big fan of it.
I know, but the joke was because you didn't watch it.
I get the joke. This is something I've stuck with my guns on for a long time. I've never been a fan.
Oh, well, Chris, what do you think?
I think it looks beautiful. I think it probably would have sold a lot of tickets on the heels of the reception to Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse. You've got the right people on board. I'm guessing Safran and Gunn just had other plans. You know, they're coming out with the Creature Commandos, part of their animated thing, the launch of the DCU, and I just think they're not open to any new ideas. I think they've got it all mapped out. This looks great.
But it's so stupid because this would have made money. And it's also what people have been crying out for.
Sure,
everyone's been like, hey, look, make a Batman Beyond movie. Do it.
Well, you remember when Mask of the Phantasm came out, and that was at the height of the Batman the Animated Series, and it did great. As a matter of fact, many people think it's one of the top 5 Batman movies of all time, top 3. A lot of people put it as number 2 even.
Yeah.
So
Mask of the Phantasm is great.
Yeah, absolutely. So this could have been something. I'm glad they shared it, but I'm wondering now that they've shared it, I'm guessing that Warner Brothers is like, damn it, I wish they hadn't showed that stuff. You know, now we kind of look back.
Well, they've shared it because it's never going to happen, right? That's why.
Yeah.
You know, so you can rest easy, Tom, buddy. It's never going to happen.
Yep.
It's,
why do you think they're doing this? They're trying to get James Gunn's attention.
I know.
So that you get a mass of people going, why don't you let the guys who made Spider-Verse amazing make Batman Beyond?
It's a good strategy.
It is. I'm not going to say it's not.
I really like Batman Beyond was a good continuation of
It's
Batman
not the worst of the bunch. I'm just not a fan of also Rand characters like that.
I guess I'm wrong. Wasn't Bruce Wayne like an old Bruce Wayne in this?
Yeah, he was in it.
He is, yeah.
I mean, to me, that it makes perfect sense.
he mentored Terry McGinnis, and then obviously towards the end, it was revealed Terry McGinnis is, you know, a bit of a clone.
Yeah,
which it was always interesting. This stuff's in. It was a good way to continue Batman the Animated.
Well, it being animated too sort of gives it a little more leeway and flexibility to do things that, you know, they're not going to do in the films, which I think they could have had a lot of fun with this.
There was some dumb stuff, but it was a bit tongue in cheek because like Harley Quinn was in it, and she had like nieces that were the twins, which I thought was quite fun, but it was a bit dumb. But I don't know, I enjoyed it. I thought it was quite fun.
Well, okay,
it's the least offensive way. Like, look, let's put it this way, right? It's not Spider-Man where they just go, "Oh, here you go. Here's a Korean American chick because we need some representation. She just coincidentally was eating some pho and just coincidentally got bitten by the same spider as Peter Parker," right? That's nonsense, right? That's nonsense. At least with this, they were like, "Oh, it's a clone in the future," but Batman's still there, helping him. Like, at least it was still respectful, I guess, in that regard. Whereas these other spin-offs are like, nah, man, this whatever doesn't need no original. It's just nonsense. Absolute nonsense.
Yeah, this is just the future. This is what would happen beyond the era of Batman.
Go on, Culture. What do you think?
Okay, so the art style is interesting. I've always thought this was really pretty, but it's hard because there's not a lot of definition in it. It's not supposed to be. A lot of people like it. I'm not super excited. Across the Spider-Verse, I mean, a lot of people enjoyed the film. I guess, much like Tom, I'm not a fan of like, let's just hand the mantle to somebody else kind of a thing. What you're suggesting
did you watch Batman? Did you watch Batman Beyond?
A few of them. As you've talked about. What?
You got to remember, Culture was like 63 when Batman Beyond came out.
Whoa.
What?
He's not really. See, I told you he's like 100. You don't know how old Culture is, really, do you? He's like Father Time. He's like 266.
Looking like Dumbledore right there, anyway.
Yeah.
I keep getting Culture.
You guys are mean.
No, I get Culture, and I get where he's coming from.
There's three. And this is look. It was 3 seasons of a cartoon that was not aimed at me.
Exactly. That's what I was joking.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I know. And again, I'm talking about. So for me, the interesting thing is the art style. The problem is there's not enough detail in it. That's all I'm responding to. I also don't enjoy people being handed, you know, somebody else's title. I'm not a fan. If this is as you suggest, and I wouldn't know or care about, but this is if as you suggest that this is a continuation of this McGinnis character that you say is this clone person of Bruce Wayne. I have all this correct. Is that right?
Yeah. You're tracking. Yeah.
Okay. So if that's the case, it might be interesting. The problem is now I have to go do homework and watch three seasons of cartoons.
It's not being made. This is the thing. So you guys are focusing more on a personal element. Let's look at this from a business element, right? Let's scrap your opinion on whether you like to watch it or not, right? Let's look at Warner Brothers floundering around with garbage after garbage after garbage, and the Spider-Verse people pitch them this, and they go, "Nah, that's absolutely retarded."
Well, no, that's dumb. Okay, so answering the business question, no, that was incredibly stupid. You have like this fan base of rabid fanboys that like the Spider-Verse films, right? Not everybody, it wasn't everybody's cup of tea or whatnot, but this is definitely a way to print some money, and Warner Brothers needs to get back to printing money. So does Disney. Actually, all the studios do. I mean, that's the argument for it, business-wise. But is this going to have broad appeal? Well, the Spider-Verse films didn't.
What do you mean they didn't? Are you serious?
What was the box office on the first
respectable one? Let's just say they didn't lose money. I would also add that this, depending on how this is marketed, and I don't mean to be contrary here.
No, you're fine. I don't mind. I don't care.
Imagine a world beyond Gotham. Imagine a world without a Batman, right? That's all they have to do. This is a future version. This is the Blade Runner era of Batman, and one man comes up, and it's all marketing. Everybody knew Peter Parker was a white teenager. Then a Miles Morales animated movie came out. If you dazzle everybody with the imagery, and of course, these are just concept images. Of course, they're low definition, right?
Right.
I think it would make money. And to answer your question, Nate, about whether or not Warner Brothers is offended by making money, well, didn't they make Blue Beetle, The Flash, and Batgirl? I mean, obviously they're offended with making money. So I don't know what is going on here. I would love to know who said no to this specifically.
Well, it was a lower level executive. That's what we're getting in the thing. And just to be clear, look, my personal shit aside, because that's just my own personal thing. It's like, these are cartoon characters. They can live forever. Yeah. You don't have to age them up. You don't have to kill them off. You don't have to hand off a mantle. That's my own personal thing. But oh yeah, I know what you guys are saying as far as money goes. And that's what I think these guys are doing. They said this was just 5 months ago, right? Like, so this isn't even something that's even hit James Gunn's door yet, as far as something he's heard about. And that's what they're doing here. They're trying to get his attention because they're struggling with lower level executives. And look, I'll be honest with you, the guy who, if he's really that big in the Spider-Verse thing, because when I think of Spider-Verse, I think of Lord Miller. I don't know who this guy is.
Well, yeah, they're the directors.
Right. So that's probably why he's having a hard time. If anything, he should be asking his buddies to get him a phone call with James Gunn. Because look, I agree with you guys. As an animated feature, I didn't like the Spider-Verse stuff, but I know people dig this stuff. This would make money, no problem. We couldn't understand back in the day how they screwed up. We could have had, there was a rumor that there was a possibility of a Tim Burton directed Batman Beyond with Michael Keaton in it.
Yeah.
And that fell off because of Batgirl, because of the people that were in charge at that time. And it's just, that's also the thing you got to remember with Blue Beetle, Batgirl, and all those movies. Those were movies that were in the former regime.
Yeah, they were in the pipeline. I get it. Yeah, I get
it. And to be fair, I was referring to the first Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse film, with a $90 million budget and a $300 million.
Yeah, the first one did not make all that much money.
Yeah, and so Across the Spider-Verse did yield quite a bit, over 600 million. So when you put it in that perspective, yeah, they had a license to print money, as Nate was suggesting, and nobody, and I think you were too, Chris, and they didn't pursue, if they haven't pursued this. See,
and they may still. You're right.
Yeah,
I get Tom's idea that they're just leveraging the fandom. I totally am.
Yeah, because this guy's hitting a bunch of resistance, trying to get to James Gunn, basically. Yeah.
As soon as James Gunn's actual projects, The Creature Commandos, comes out, I mean, we're going to know what the trajectory is right from there.
I think that's going to flop.
I do too. Yeah. You talk about needing to do homework. That was a comic book from the 70s that very few people have heard of.
Yeah.
And I don't think they would have to do homework with this. Honestly, you could just pitch it as the future, jump into the middle of an action scene, have a Batman silhouette. It turns out to be Terry, and then you go back to the Batcave and you get a nice info dump.
Well, the thing is, it's not like this isn't a Miles Morales where it's just a brand new character. You know, the old one's there. He's part of the story. He's integral to the story.
Yeah.
You know, Bruce Wayne is integral to this future position of Batman Beyond. He's always there. He's not just out of the picture. So it's not actually a hard sell.
Sure.
To anyone, because you can literally, I mean, a trailer, you still have Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, Bruce Wayne has retired.
It's pretty easy to sell.
Helping, guiding. Yeah, and I think that's why they did in Across the Spider-Verse stuff, why they did a little bit of a multiverse where they could have Peter Parker in there for the fans of Spider-Man that, identify.
Because Miles can't stand on his own. That's why.
Well, that's a whole nother argument. Well, I won't debate that.
No, and I'll tell you another thing why they may not, the executive that may be resisting this, and I can tell you why they may be, because first of all, I'm hearing across the board, I'm sure you guys are hearing similar things and reading similar things, where everybody is just scared shitless right now in Hollywood because they know that their job's on the line. So they don't want to be the guy to ruffle any feathers And this story could ruffle feathers in a way that, look, the Batman movie that they already have planned is basically a de facto Batman Beyond story as it is. You have an older Bruce Wayne training his son. They're not going to want two of the same story happening at the same time. So whatever executive is hitting, they're hitting. That's why he's doing it, because he knows that they're going to get a no either way. But I think James Gunn would be receptive to this, especially if it's a cartoon. See, that's where I think this executive is being short-sighted, whoever it is that's, causing them to have issues
I totally agree. And as far as the movie that they're talking about where Batman is training his son, I think that should be a non-starter if you're going to keep the Robert Pattinson Batman films going. Just let those Batman films keep going in their era, and the Joker films can keep going in their era, and then do this.
Yeah.
Well, they want to have a Batman that they can cross over, and the Pattinson one's just not going to work for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then you got to ask what's Warner Brothers doing? Go ahead, Nate. Sorry.
I was just going to say, Lester San Jose, the Skeptic Tank, used his membership-free super chat and says, "I would like a well-done, executed Batman Beyond. Not sure if I'd leave it in the hands of those who did the Spider-Verse. Please, is that much to ask?" Yeah, look, I mean, I don't like this art style, right? I said it before with respect to Teenage, the new Ninja bloody Turtles thing that came out. I was like, it's ugly. I don't like the art style.
That's what I don't like either. Yeah.
Oh, I think this is far better than the Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, this does look a little bit more respectable than that. Yeah, that looked like a gloppy.
But this is a 2D image. You got to remember, it's not in motion. So that's where this art style really starts to get a bit weird when you look.
Here's
at it.
Here's my issue with that stuff. And then I get what you're saying, Nate, and this is where I'm worried about this, because this guy's a little gimmicky with his animation, right? Like that's his gimmick. It's all style and very little substance. Because look, you may like Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, that's cool, but it's nothing new. They've already done that in Spider-Man the Animated Series. They've already done it with Ninja Turtles and Turtles Forever. It's been done many, many times over. It's not like they're reinventing the wheel or anything. What they're doing that's different than before was they made the movie look like a crappy comic book panel. And I say crappy comic book panel because through most of the movie, everything's out of focus. And to me, that drove me nuts. And I hate the herky-jerky style. It's like, it's one thing if you're actually doing stop motion. You can't avoid it. That's just the way it works. With computers, you can have smooth motion. To do that like they did. And Turtles, the new Turtles was just really a dime store version of what they did in Spider-Verse, right?
Yeah.
And their gimmick there was, instead of it being comic books, it was, well, this is what it would be like if a kid was scribbling on his a notebook at school. And then we just animated it. That's almost like a literal quote from Seth Rogen. And it looks like it, dude. Like the designs are horrible, and it does not work in 2D or 3D. And mixing the two just makes it even more difficult for the brain to process. And that was my issue with Spider-Verse 2. And if they go too crazy with the style here, that can be a problem. Now, if they just stick with this like Japanese neon look, might not be so bad.
Yeah.
But I'd have to see it in 3D, like Nate's saying.
Yeah. We also, so we had some, anyway, Warner Brothers are dumb. The fact that they didn't say yes to this, they're stupid. But anyway, we'll shuffle on because we've got